Hello, it's me, Funky, and I'll be taking over this part of the video. I'll be discussing about these tips and tricks or whatnot, so let's get right into it. The crit hitbox is actually a giant sphere. Use your roll when you feel like you're in a bad position. Be careful when fighting classes like Knight and Valkyrie, who have parries. When fighting these classes, it would be smart to either bait out their parry moves and then use High Noon, or just don't use it at all. When you're fighting a melee class, you should just hold S on them. If they have a mobility tool, use your roll, going to the other way. You can't use critical if the class they're using has a parry, absorb, or a move that makes them invincible. You will have to wait for them to use or bait them into using it. The lasso has a wide hitbox, so if you can't hit a shot, use the lasso. If you miss the lasso, then you should just run. If you can't hit a shot from afar, you're better at hitting shots close range, then take advantage of that. Just don't be reckless with it. You can combine critical with the extended roll to get closer to your enemies faster. Use your critical when they are close to you or corner. Using the lasso to pull them closer will help. When using critical, be on an uneven terrain by having the high ground or low ground. This way, if it fails, you are much safer than you would have been on the even ground. Abuse the edge and the lasso in Final Strike, especially when you're fighting a close range class. I think that's all. On to the next part.
Hey, it's Mike. The script for this part is really long, so my friend is going to be reading this part because he wanted to be a part of this video. So, here's the script.
Hello, this is Coco. I'll be the one covering this part. So, the Spiderman Combo is probably one of the most infamous cowboy moves ever.
It's infamous, not infamous.
Every cowboy mains know how to do it, and I've done it before. Unfortunately, there's no tutorial out there on how to do the combo, so players had to learn it by themselves. Even myself had to learn how to do the combo alone, and it took a pretty long time. But don't worry about that, because today I will be teaching you on how to do it. First, let's talk about everything you need before you do the combo. Have enough HP to survive the void, and the other person have no escape tools. Now, after we have all that, we can start learning the combo. First, begin by simply stacking your lasso by using it one time without throwing it and waiting for the cooldown to refresh. Now, just hit your first lasso while being behind the enemy, which is close to the void. The more he is close to it, the better. After that, you will want to time your lasso and hit them mid-air. Now this is where the hard part comes. Most new cowboy players struggle with timing the lasso correctly. They either throw it too fast or too slow, because they hesitated and was stressing. So let's talk about the time. There's two possibilities here. Either you jumped at the same time in the void with your enemy, which is perfect. Either it's too soon or too late. And the second factor is in the air, if you got close or far from the enemy. As you can see in the clip, there's a time period where you both slow down mid-air. This is when you want to throw your lasso. Not before, not after. Would want to throw your lasso when you both start losing momentum. This is possible when you both jumped at the same time.
In the case you got a delay. If you landed in the void first, you will throw your lasso when you start falling, but when you land in the void last, you will throw your lasso when he starts falling. Just look at the delay you got and adapt with throwing soon or late.
Now, what we just said only applies if you're far. If you're close to your enemy in the air, it increases the chance of you hitting. Since the lasso will hit them immediately, just as soon as your character collides with the other person, immediately throw your lasso. It's not the opposite of what we just said earlier. Throw it early or while beginning to go down, just not in the middle, since this will create a delay. Last thing to know is that in every single cases, to guarantee high noon to hit, press F as soon as you throw your lasso. It will be in every situation the great timing. Now, of course, you won't be able to hit it the first time, but that's just part of the learning process.
Now then, we finally made it to the part where I've been meaning to get to this whole time, and the main reason why I made this whole video. Trimping on Cowboy. Epic. Trimping can be done on any class. You could do it on Warrior, Charger, even Juggernaut, but Cowboy is different. Out of all the classes, Cowboy is pretty much the easiest one and the best one to do. For the other classes, they have to position yourself correctly first, but even after that, it's very inconsistent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Cowboy doesn't need all that. He can do it on the fly, with little to no positioning. But of course, this came at the cost of having to use mouse lock. There's just a lot of things you could get from Trimping on Cowboy. You could use it to fly, escape, reversing, get to places you're not supposed to be in, dodging, jump scare your enemies, confuse your enemies, take a breeze mid-fight, distance yourself from an aggro player, and using crit safely without the fear of getting M1 to death. There's just so much things that Cowboy can use Trimping for because how easy it is compared to all the other classes that it's worth switching to mouse lock, at least in my opinion. Anyways, it's time to teach you how to trimp on Cowboy. There's 5 different terrains you can trimp on. 1 block, 2 block, 2.5 block, slopes, and the ground. Let's start off with the first one, 1 block. There's 2 ways you can trimp on the 1 block. The jump and the roll only. The only difference between the two is the range. Let's start off with the jump and roll. It's a bit weird and I barely use it, but it's still useful. First, stand in front of the terrain, but put a little distance between the terrain. Tapping S should work. Next, you want to position the character a bit. By position, I mean make your character stare at the corner of the block. Next, jump and press Q at the same time like how you would with the extended roll. And just like that, you're flying. And this one will usually be used for when you're closer to the terrains and you want to do it immediately. So don't rely on this one too much since it's pretty inconsistent. Remember, this only works with mouse lock. Now, let's do the second way of tripping on 1 block. The roll only is really easy and way more consistent than the other one. Just like last time, put your character in front of the wall, but this time back up a lot more. Next, you do the same thing as last time and stare at the wall again. And then after that, just press Q. This tech has a higher chance of hitting with barely any positioning since the distance where you can hit the trimp is a lot bigger. Don't use experimental mouse lock by the way, this only works with normal mouse lock. Anyways, next is the 2 block. The 2 block is actually easier than the 1 block. You'll usually be using this one on boxes than terrains. First, put your character in front of the box and back up a little, like the 1 block. Then jump. And after that, time your Q and then bam, you're flying. It's that easy. The timing is not that hard, it's pretty easy to find. Next is the 2.5 block. This one is pretty much do the same thing with the 2 block. The only difference is that you're going to be rolling last second. This can only work on the map Sacred Vistage. Yes, that. Next is the slope. This one can only be done on Icicle since it's the only slope that's steep enough to launch you far upwards. The way you hit it is super easy, all you need to do is jump and Q like normal. Lastly, we have the ground, or the terrain. Now, this one is a bit hard. You can pretty much do it on any map, on any terrain, but you'll need to react fast just to do it. If you're too fast, then you'll just roll like normal. If you're too slow, then you'll just miss it and bonk your head. You'll also need to stop walking as soon as you start falling, or you'll just go backwards. Anyways, here's how to do it. First, stand next to the edge and start walking backwards. Next, as soon as you start falling, immediately stop walking. And then after that, roll as fast as possible. Just don't roll too fast, because if you do, you're just gonna do a normal roll. Doing this in the corner is easier, by the way. And there you go. This might be a bit hard at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's gonna be super easy to do.